Hello there, Virgo, and welcome to your monthly forecast. This is for the month of July, and this is a very special month because as I've been looking at every sign, I've been seeing breakthrough moments. So today when I'm looking at Virgo, I really want to see what we can do for you to help you make a change that you need, to get you closer to your goals, or perhaps let you get closer to letting go of something that you no longer want in your life. I work from a place of empowerment, and you're going to leave the reading feeling better and able and ready to take whatever comes your way. That's really my goal each and every month, actually. So let's talk a little bit about this reading. First of all, you can use it for your sun, your rising, and for your moon sign. And you can also watch for someone that you care about in your life. But if you don't happen to know all of that information, sun, rising, and moon, just stick with the sign that you were born under and you'll get all the information that you need simply by doing that. Now, for everybody that is a return viewer, I would like to say a heartfelt thank you and welcome back. And if you're brand new, a nice warm welcome. Let me introduce myself if that's the case. My name is Ashbaugh, and every month I separate the reading into the following segments. I like to begin with some channeled information, and I do this by meditating on your sign and the cards, and information comes to me using raw intuition alone. After that, I take a look at the Celtic cross, and this gives me a really good cross-section of everything that's coming through, from the blessings to the blocks, and as we look at all of that, then you're better prepared and you can exercise free will. So that's a great component, and again, you get to see a little bit of everything with the Celtic cross. To make sure that we hit on main areas that I know you care about, I also extend the forecast to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. So as you can see, it's a pretty deep dive in the month ahead, and if you like what you see, please stick around until the end. At that point, I'll give you a little bit more information on how you can give back, including liking and subscribing, booking a reading, or even just giving a contribution. In addition to that, I also summarize everything that we talked about in 1 or 2 minutes so that you can remember all of it and get a nice overview, and then I leave you with a closing word. So without any additional delays, let's get straight into that channeled message and see what's coming through for you this month. This month, as I began to meditate over the deck of cards that I'd chosen for you, I saw a couple of things. The first thing was an image of a person kind of holding their hand out, almost pushing me away. And the second thing was kind of like the shaking of a finger, shaking of their head, and I got the word no in my head. So what I wrote down in automatic writing was to respect boundaries, to set limits, and to say no. And the setting of the limits, it can be yours or the other person that might be setting it. So from your perspective, let's start with you and then we'll talk about the external. If you're at a point in your life where people continually are coming in and maybe asking for too much, asking you to stay late all of the time, or there's a friend that's constantly having you pay for dinner or whatever, it just feels like the scales are out of balance a little bit. The boundaries there could be simply saying, no, it's your turn, or not tonight, or just the word no. Don't be surprised, however, if it does take a little bit of repetition for the no to set in. What I mean by that is if you are always accommodating, or if you sort of set this pattern of acceptance and just allowing people to kind of move into the space, then they won't be used to the word no, and you might have to say it a few times before it registers. And the other thing is you want to ease in your boundaries. So for instance, we talked about the work example, or again, maybe a friend that's constantly taking advantage of your generosity. While I think it's important and it can even be exciting to start to create these boundaries, and it's also empowering, if you turn a switch overnight and you're suddenly saying no all the time or getting bossy or pushing back 24/7, then people will start to wonder what happened to you. So what's important is that you start to, moving forward, create some reciprocity, and maybe you will ease it in every second or third time so that people start to think, oh, okay, that was unusual, but I'm going to honor it. And sometimes there's more power in saying no in a very distinct and very sort of isolated incident. So you can be really flexible, really kind, really working with people, but if something is very important to you, or you really are genuinely tired, exhausted, or someone should be taking their fair share of the work, etc., when you step up and say, no, it's actually your turn to do this, and you're firm and you say it just like that, and then you step away from it, it will be more impactful if you're then constantly saying no. So if you say yes all the time or no all the time, it sort of loses its power. But when there's a balance, people know that you're someone that, they're going to have to really think about before trying to take advantage of your generosity. Okay? So easing in your boundaries, but then staying firm to them. And when you pick and choose a situation to say no or yes to, make it count, because your time and energy is important, and whether you give it or take it away, it's also important. The flip side is true. So respecting boundaries. If there's someone in your life this month, because I saw the sort of pushing back, if they're giving you sort of like a Six of Swords moment or a Four of Swords moment, the Four of Swords would just be sort of like them not talking to you or responding to you. The Six of Swords could be completely cutting off or moving away or deciding to change their number. Whatever's going on here, that sort of subtle, I need some space, or literally, don't call me again, you need to respect that as well, even if it's frustrating, even if you feel like you're owed an explanation, or maybe if we just talked it out, it would be okay. Sometimes people aren't capable of the same communication skills as you are, and they don't know how to process their emotions in the same way or in a mature way. And rather than bringing it into an argument or dealing with unsettling or difficult or sad emotions, they just put it under the rug. Even though that's hard for you, unless there is some driving reason, like maybe there's a family member that's sick and you're not going to accept this sort of silent treatment because you don't know what tomorrow may bring, I think that's a perfect example of, no, we're going to have to talk because this is important that we get it resolved. But if it's just a friend, if it's just a coworker, even if it's an ex, I think it's important to just give people space because you never know what can happen in that space. There could be forgiveness. They could be processing their emotions. Maybe there's a lot going on in their life. Assume the best, give them the space that they're requiring, and even if they're not able to articulate it, those are still valid boundaries that they are setting. So if we want our own boundaries to be observed, we have to observe other people's. Then we start to attract people in our lives also that will respect us, allow for reciprocity, etc. It's a two-way street on this, and I think overall, as you start to create boundaries and observe boundaries, you're going to be happier this month, and you're going to be setting a really nice pace for the rest of the year. All right, let's move along now to the Celtic Cross. I like to remain quiet at this point, but right afterwards, I will pull each and every card up and relate it to the month ahead. I really love your Catalyst card this month. We have the moth, which is a wonderful symbol of transformation. Much like a butterfly, it goes through a period of metamorphosis. The main difference is that instead of a chrysalis, it creates a cocoon. And instead of being active in the daytime, this is a nocturnal insect. As I'm looking at this, there are three messages that I want to talk about. The first is that I feel like this month you are going to begin the month in a different state than you end it. And we talked about some of the change. I think for you, this is a big month for you to spread your wings and to show your colors. And I talked at the beginning about like the big idea, the big transformation. And for you, that's what this really is that there might have been a part of yourself that you've been holding back or hiding and maybe either unwilling or unable to share. By the end of the month, it feels like you're going to move past your fear, which we see here in the crowning position. I'll get more into that in a second. And once you've moved through the fear, you realize that it's okay. It's okay to be who you want to be. It's okay to show this side of yourself or to try something new. So many of you will be spreading your wings, exploring something new and conveying that to others. The other thing is about protecting yourself. And we talked about that in the channeled information about respecting the boundaries. The cocoon is an interesting difference, again, between the butterflies and the moths. So you could cocoon yourself in light as part of your meditation practice this month. And what I like about a cocoon is it's pliable. Obviously, the caterpillar can get out of it when it needs to, and it emerges as the moth here. So what you could think of each and every day when you're stepping out into the world, especially those of you that are light workers, is you could start to trace these circles of light around your body. And instead of a traditional cocoon, what I'm seeing are sort of halos that are stacked one on top of another. And these halos of light are going to protect you, and you could try using this as a new form of sort of spiritual boundaries to help you be strong and to help you sort of contain your own energy and protect you from other people's energy. And the third piece of this is that it's okay to change your mind, to change your direction, and to move away from something that you once thought was the only way to go. We are constantly evolving, and it's interesting that we are held to a decision sometimes that we make as a kid for like a career, or a decision we made when we were young, if it was a relationship or a job, when we know that maybe we've outgrown it. So it was interesting, in another sign I saw a snake, and I talked about the snake shedding its skin. This month, you'll kind of be coming out of your cocoon at some point and becoming something different. So it's all right. I feel like some of you need to change your mind, change your direction, voice your concerns, do something to kind of step out of who you were or what you were and emerge something different. I think this is your sign's breakthrough for this month. And I'm excited to see, as we look at the cards, how we can facilitate this transformation. Let's start with the central card here, which is the Two of Swords in reverse. Now, the Two of Swords usually shows that there is a decision at hand, but there's uncertainty or fear regarding like which path or which direction to go into. The reversal of this is showing that I think you're ready this month to let that go and to move past the fear. When we look at what's crossing it, which can give context to what the outcome will be, we have the Sun, which is saying it will be all right. There could be a little bit of unnecessary worry or hesitation on your part, and this card is encouraging you to make that step forward. Whenever we see the Fool or the Sun card, we see something young in it, usually a child, which is saying, or a younger person, it's a beginning of a new sort of phase for you. And if you embrace it with optimism and with a sense of it's going to be okay, then it will be okay. The Sun card, because I'm reading in the Northern Hemisphere, is also tied to the next 3 months or so. So it would be great for you to start to make some of these changes over the course of this summer. And I think for you, again, there is that need to just be sort of playful or optimistic about it. When I see the Fool, the Sun, the Six of Cups, they usually are showing that childlike approach, which is don't worry so much, just move forward, because it can be paralyzing to sit too long in a decision-making process. Let's look at your deep past. I feel many of you have been working really hard. So that message I said earlier about making sure that you're not overdoing it when it comes to how many late hours that you're working or how much of a load you're carrying versus someone else, that really does matter for you this month. The Five of Wands also comes through as a reminder that even though you may not be receiving validation from friends, coworkers, and others, you're doing a great job. I think it's important, though, to allow for a period of rest, of recuperation, and really do something for yourself, which leads us to the recent past here. We have Eight of Pentacles in reverse. This card in the upright position is about learning. Oftentimes, when I see this, people have decided to take some sort of a training course, go back to school, have been reading a lot, or are really focusing on bettering themselves. So this is a good time for you to do that. And even if you can't take time off, maybe you could do something for yourself that can set the stage for a better tomorrow. And that could be going back to school or getting a degree, so that if you feel trapped in the job or situation that you're in right now, you won't always be. You'll have a chance, a way, a platform to eventually emerge and change your career if that's something that you want to do. The Eight of Pentacles also is about paying attention to details. That's something that I actually brought out as a channeled message for one of the signs this month. It's a little subtler for you, a little bit more subtle, but I would say what you need to focus on this month is all of the small print, the fine print, anything that you're going to engage in as far as agreements. Make sure that you don't overlook things, because something small could add up to something much bigger later. So this can also be like renewals of a license or, again, a certification of some sort. Make sure nothing expires. It's important to stay on top of that stuff. Money-wise, it's actually a good card. It's showing me that you have ample resources. It does look, as we are kind of peeking into the near future, that you'll want to keep that reserve, because I see that some of you may have a big expenditure. It may be a decision to do some sort of a home improvement or an investment in education or something else, but it looks like you'll want to keep that money handy for something that could pop up in the middle of this month or in the next 2 or 3 months. You're going to need it sooner than later. Your crowning card was what I highlighted when I was talking about the moth card earlier. When I see the shadow side or the devil card, what it really is saying in reverse is that you don't need to give energy or power to the fears in your life. It's basically an unshackling or a release card. So the release could be of a habit in your life. A lot of times the devil card can show that you're overcoming an addiction, a toxic relationship, or some sort of an environment around you that hasn't been really healthy or helpful. And so this is your chance to continue the healing process. And when we talked about respecting boundaries and setting limits, this can also be about saying no to groups of people, activities, or environments that pull you back into that path of temptation, which can also be the devil, obviously. The card is reversed, which means you're stronger than whatever is coming your way. It's a matter of you being stubborn, being steadfast, being strong, and wanting your future more than whatever that sort of temptation was. So always keeping your eyes on who you are and who you want to be rather than what happened in the past. That's going to be a very important piece to recovery, to sobriety, and just to general happiness in your life. One final thing that I'd like to talk about with the devil reversed is that it can often indicate that you've stumbled upon some knowledge, usually in a relationship, that changes your perception of your partner or the friend or that individual. This could be that you find out maybe that they weren't telling the whole truth, or that they were hiding something, or maybe that they did something that just wasn't right, either legally or in respect to a promise or some sort of a contract that they had with you. And you have a choice this month, whether you want to stay in that relationship or walk away. There's no wrong decision with that. But I think it's important to face that shadow energy, whatever it was, and decide, was it a one-time thing? Can you empathize with why they did it? And if not, then you need to honor that as well. As we look at near future, this is a month where, not surprisingly with the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, you might be deciding to invest in yourself. I mentioned it can be a money or a resource card, but it can also be a time card or an energy card where you're thinking about yourself more than others. If you're someone who has been constantly giving in service or is exhausted or just feels like enough is enough, this card is okay. Sometimes it's okay to see the King or the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. It's saying invest in your health, invest in your education, and also just treat yourself a little bit. This could be a day off, it could be a massage, it could just be getting a good night's sleep and sleeping in or something like that. I don't see cards of warning in the additional cards here on the right that are showing that this could lead to some sort of major issue. I would say the only thing that you want to be careful of is if there is a sobriety issue, that of course you're not overdoing anything in that area. But when it comes to just taking care of yourself and investing in a healthier and happier tomorrow, that's absolutely good and okay. All right, looking at your ego card here, we have the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands is showing that you've come a long way, and a lot of this may have been through, blood, sweat, and tears. You worked to get where you're at today, and I see that in the deep past with the Five of Wands. Give yourself a chance to just acknowledge the hard work that's done, and also 9 is very close to 10. 10 is finishing a task or really getting ready to move on to the next thing. So I want you to realize that you're nearly there. You can't rush sometimes. If you're trying to get a raise or some sort of recognition, sometimes you have to pay your dues and work your way up the line, but you're getting there, and that's what I see. So if there's a goal at hand that you feel like, I'm going to give up, not just yet. I feel like you're really close to that breakthrough, that moment of being free. We've got the Fool card here. I would say give it another quarter of the year. For me, like the Nine of Wands, if we're looking at a year, it's like 3/4 of the way there. Give it another 3 or 4 months before you make a decision on whether to stay or to go on that path. And now what I'm seeing here in the environment is it would be really good for you to take your own sort of break. I was mentioning earlier about like the Six of Swords, which is sometimes a vacation or a traveling card. The Fool card is the same thing. This is about taking a very easy, local, inexpensive trip. It can be just literally getting in the car and driving somewhere. It can be walking, because the Fool is obviously connected to just walking. And I think that being able to do that, and almost impulsively deciding maybe one weekend that, today I'm going to drive up the coast, or I'm going to, just get away, I'm going to take a hike and, enjoy the afternoon. That will do so much for your mental state and for your energy. And it would also be a really good time to spend with children or animals, as we see here in this card as well. Be careful. The only thing that I would say overall with the Fool card is you want to watch where you're going, and it's a card about being mindful. So this is not a good time to kind of be multitasking if you're taking a break. You really want to be present. So stay away from devices. Keep your eye on what you're looking at around you. Really focus on, if you're hiking, on the environment to make sure that you don't trip, etc. So aside from being very aware of where you're walking and what you're doing, I think a break is good. It's going to help you quite a bit. As we look at your opportunities, this can be hopes and fears as well. We have the Knight of Cups in reverse. And I think that this is really edging more in the fear space. Some of you with the Knight of Cups, particularly in its reverse state, you kind of feel, it looks like you've been giving too much, or that emotionally you're a little bit tapped out. So I think that when it comes to relationships this month, it's not so much about hopping into a new relationship or really going deeper in an existing one. This is about healing your heart, healing yourself. And if you're in a place where you're feeling a little sad, depressed, or just like you need someone to listen, absolutely reach out to a friend or a professional and get that support that you need. Because that is really what the Queen of Pentacles in reverse is saying. It's okay to nurture yourself. To me, this is one of the most maternal cards that you could pull in the deck. It's usually about giving to others or taking care of others. One of the common themes that I'm getting both intuitively in the cards and that I'm just also feeling for you this month and empathetically is that you need to care for yourself. You need to nurture yourself. Even if your mom, even if your relatives, even if your partner isn't doing that, it's okay. The month is going to be busy for you, and it's going to end on a busier note than it began as well. We have the Eight of Wands, which is showing me busy social calendar. And for those of you that might have your own business, this shows that there's going to be a lot coming through at the end of the month for you as well. Overall, I really like what I see here, and the only thing that I want you to focus on is, as we look at the center here, the Devil card reversed and the Two of Swords reversed. These two are showing that there is perhaps unnecessary energy being put into your fears, and that you don't want to put too much thought into what could go wrong, because it actually kind of attracts and manifests that. If you can move forward thinking, I've done all of the requisite hard work, I trust myself, and I know that I pay attention to all of the little things, and that's going to pay off. Others are going to find value in what I do. And guess what? I worked really hard to get where I'm at. And I think that this is going to be sustainable no matter what happens. If you do that, then you can have fun a little bit. That's the one thing that was kind of missing from the whole spread, was irreverence, joy, taking a break. And I think this is how you can diffuse the energy of the Two of Swords and the Devil. Remember that you are not who you were. So if you are on the path to change, to a healthier way, to sobriety, whatever it is, you're like the moth. You're going to emerge stronger and better for the experiences that you went through. Let's move along now to your expanded forecast. We're going to begin with the health card. This is your mind, your body, and your spirit. This is a beautiful card, and I've never seen it before. I've used this deck a lot, and I really like it. Cancel, clear, and delete. It's very technology-based, which I like. It says, use only positive words and thoughts as they're rapidly manifesting into form. Ask the angels to cancel the effects of past negative thinking. What a fantastic idea, and wow, doesn't it really resonate with what we saw here with the Devil card reversed and also with the Two of Swords reversed? Exactly what I was saying earlier. If you can give energy instead to positive ideas, which is what was crossing that center fear-based card, then in fact you start to draw them in. So just like you could on a computer delete a file that you don't like, cut out something in an email that you're writing that isn't quite right, that doesn't resonate with it, or just clear everything and start from scratch, like you would maybe in Photoshop, for instance. You can do this in your life and in your energy. And this is all about thoughts this month. So I want you to honor what the trigger was that created the fear. Try to deal with the trigger and then release it. And just play around with the idea that it's going to be fine. It's going to be great, actually. everything's going to be okay. And that's what you could start the morning with. That's your mantra. If you want to put it in a more affirmative way, you would say, today is going to be a good day. I'm going to make today a great day. Start trying things like this and see if you don't start to clear your energy, clear your karma, and clear your path for the success that was clearly wanting to come through at the end of the month. I love this, and I'm actually going to use that in my daily practice as well. So let's both try it together and see how it works for us over the course of this month. Let's take a look now at your health card. This includes not only money and wealth opportunities, but also your self-confidence and how you're either attracting or pushing away those opportunities. The message in wealth is perfection is an illusion. This says the perfection of your life. For some of you, there is this sort of, I think it's set up from the time you were a kid, but there's this illusion that if you find the perfect job, the perfect spouse, kind of lead the perfect existence that everybody accepts, then you'll find happiness. Happiness is not about what others think. It's about how you feel and how you're tracking to your lifelong journey of metamorphosis, evolution, ascension. We need to get back to this. You are very much like a moth or a butterfly, where you are going through this experience of life so that you can become stronger, wiser, and more evolved. So that your empathy, your heart, your third eye can open wide and can really see life for what it is. Many of you have been too swept up in work, in the little details, in fear, in trying to please others. You're missing out on enjoying when good things happen, taking necessary risks, simply having fun. I want you to do more of the latter this month. Release, relax, take risks, and in doing so, not take yourself so seriously, while at the same time honoring the big life goal, which is to just be present, to experience, and to appreciate how far you've come and really what you're here for. So to summarize again, the perfection of your life, it's actually about the arc, the journey, the experience. It's not about particular check marks on the list, a title, a pay scale, a certain partnership, etc. Those are nice to haves, but the important thing is, are you happy? And I remember a friend asking me that once at a reunion when we were talking about what we did for our jobs and where we had come from and etc. And they just came to me and they said, so are you happy? And when I said, yeah, they said, well, I'm happy for you. And that was the perfect way to approach how far you'd come in life. And instead of caring about where I worked or if I was dating someone or if I was doing this or whatever was going on, they just wanted to know. They were very present and very ascended in that moment, just said, are you happy? And I don't think I've heard that very often in my life. So I'm asking you that. Are you happy? If you are, then you're rich and you're doing great. If you're not, then work on it. And you know exactly where you need to work on it, okay? Let's go ahead now and take a look at love and see what's coming through for relationships in your life. So when we look at love, we have Ganesha, which is a very wonderful card for any sort of challenges you might be going through. We see obstacles here, but Ganesha is a god that you can work with when you're trying to overcome obstacles in your life. And for some of you, whatever might seem like it's insurmountable or something that you can't deal with, it might in fact be something that you absolutely can, but you have to look at whatever that thing is that's causing you fear. I actually like that this particular devil card is illustrated as a sort of difference between shadow and light, and being afraid to face the shadow, which is back there. Fear is the one thing that comes through loud and clear with that illustration, and with Ganesha, you have the energy, you have the power, you have the means with which to overcome that fear. Really, I've found in my life that when I'm afraid of something, if I simply do a little bit of work, educate myself, and face the fear, that's it. It's usually a combination of just looking at it and then getting the required information, or because ignorance can actually feed into fear. So if you don't know about something, or you're afraid to look at something, then the fear builds up whatever it is that's kind of holding power over you. So ask questions, talk to someone, really look at what brought this about, and then at the end of it, you'll be able to decide. At the very least, you're going to feel like you were empowered with the knowledge, and you can work through this. You can get through whatever is happening this month. But because Ganesha came through, it does feel like this is a month where you want to resolve any existing issues that exist with relationships in your life. You want to also look at anything that's going on in your own life and that's causing challenges or trouble, because that could be creating some sort of a wall or a shield that's not letting people in. So fix your own issues and also work with other people's obstacles or problems and try to heal across the board. All right, let's look at your final card for today, and this is the Destiny card. For me, Destiny operates as both a GPS and a chance for you to use your free will to either stay on the path that you're on or make some sort of a course correction. In your Destiny card, we have the Father card in reverse, and this is interesting because as an aspect of your personality, this is about your ability to nurture and bring things into a final state, into fruition. And for some of you, it can also indicate, of course, a relationship with your father or with a strong parent figure in your life. It's attached to the obstacles card here as we're looking at the expanded forecast in love. So for some of you, there may be a little bit of healing to go on with like a father, an uncle, or if you had a single parent that's kind of playing both roles, it could be that. Whatever's going on there, please do try to heal that. But the other piece of this is more about you and your ability to maybe nurture and mentor other people in your life, or to take care of yourself, something that I mentioned earlier. So sometimes we have to play the role of parent, even if our parents are gone, or if we're in a situation where our parents weren't there for us. I feel like really what's coming through a couple of times for you this month is take care of yourself and be the father, be the mother maybe that you didn't have, and try to do something for yourself that is going to support, sustain, and most importantly, help you feel that you're actually tracking against some of your dreams, your aspirations, and that you're just getting more of a fulfillment in your day-to-day life. All right, at this point, I'd like to do a review of everything we talked about, and then I'll leave you with a final word after that. Your channeled message this month was to respect boundaries, to set limits, and to say no. Remember, this cuts both ways. You have to not only create your own, but also respect others as well. So really do your best to find a happy balance. And remember what I was saying also with saying no or making those limits. You can't change the switch overnight. You have to ease into that and then really stay firm when you do decide that there's something that you want to push back on. The overarching energy this month is that of changing and transforming. And I think for you, this is really part of the big message for you, which is you're going to end the month in a different space. And part of that big message or transformation for you also is realizing that the idea of perfection is an illusion. It's actually okay that maybe you didn't meet up to your original expectations, because you're supposed to change, you're supposed to evolve. We're not supposed to stay in the same space or always just kind of execute against one vision that we had in our life. Keep moving, keep changing, and know that this is the important thing for you this month. That's your breakthrough. As we look at the central theme here, we have the Two of Swords in reverse, and right above it's the Devil reversed as well. When we're looking at all of this, it's also attached to a work card. And I feel some of you are just worrying too much. And when we look at what is possible here, we have the Sun card on top of this, which is to relax a little bit, to focus on other things in your life, better distractions, better diversions, investing your time and energy into yourself rather than perhaps a work situation or a relationship that's just tapping you out. That being said, there may be something that comes to a head this month with the Devil reversed. You might learn some information. You may also just figure out that there's something that you need to change or shift in your life, and that's okay. That's part of this journey of evolution. It's okay this month to spend a little bit more time and energy on yourself. I would say likewise, if someone else is trying to take too much from you, this is the exact reason why you have to face that, say no, and create limits so that you can even out the balance. You've worked really hard to get where you're at right now. Take a moment and enjoy that and celebrate the success, and don't give up. We talked about maybe waiting a quarter of the year before moving on to the next thing. It does look like you're ready to get to that next point, but I wouldn't give up on something just yet. You still have a lot of progress and work to do there. So as we look at the environment, however, I think one thing that can help you with that sort of impatience that you might be feeling while waiting is taking a break, taking a vacation. And we mentioned here, having some fun, taking some risks is important. If you're going through a difficult time in your life right now, don't be afraid to reach out to someone, to lean on someone for help, and do your best to try to let go of some of the sadness or the frustration that you might be feeling. I say this because overall your energy is really good this month. We have the Eight of Wands here in the final outcome. So all of this work that you're going through, all of the challenges, they're leading you to a better future, a better tomorrow. Focus on this, worry a little bit less about this, and I think things are going to be in a better position for you. One of my favorite cards that we saw today, cancel, clear, delete. This is in the health area, which is mind, body, and spirit. And again, just to review it, like trying to stick with positive words and thoughts, trying to remove some of the other words that came through, particularly when it's about your own ability, like I can't do this, or I won't do this, or this will never happen. Get rid of those sorts of thoughts and think, today's a good day. I'm going to make it a great day. I can get through this. Even though I learned this, I'm grateful that I understand now what happened. Everything that's coming through is a blessing, and if you can view it in that way, it's going to be very healthy for you. Focus on also realizing that it's not about a certain status, whether it's a social media status or like a status symbol in your life. That doesn't matter. The idea of being perfect or having perfection, it's an illusion. It's about growing, developing, changing. Changing is good. It's part of life. Don't feel like you're going to be forever stuck in a job, in a relationship, in a habit. You can break through, and that's really, again, part of the breakthrough for you this month. We see obstacles here in the love area, but it's Ganesha, which is the god of overcoming those obstacles. So for some of you, this could be a father figure. It could also be a person in your life that's taking too much. It could just be the obstacle of needing to let go of a habit, a fear, or something that has been holding you back. Whatever it is, the sooner you face it, the more control that you get, the more ability you have to nurture yourself, to inspire others, and to embrace the opportunities that want to come through. So this brings your monthly reading to a close, but hopefully you got everything that you needed in order to feel like you're prepared for the challenges ahead, and more importantly, that you're able to make the change that you need to make in your life. If, however, you ever feel like you would like to talk to someone about something big going on in your life, maybe it's a work situation or a relationship or just some spiritual development, feel free to reach out to me. The way that you can do this is by clicking on the first card or the first link below the video. That'll take you to my website where you can take a look at rates and availability. And if that makes sense for you, then I look forward to hearing from you. Otherwise, I mentioned earlier that everything that you see here is viewer supported, and you can make a difference in making this possible. The second card and second link will take you to a place on my website where you can become a patron. And that's just a fancy word for giving a contribution and making this possible. And you can do that as a one-time contribution, as little as $1, or a continuing one from month to month. And what this does is it not only allows me to continue to buy new supplies, but it also helps me set up the time required to do the production. Each video takes about 4 to 6 hours to produce, sometimes up to a full day to get everything together. So in order to really make this happen each month, I do rely on your contributions so I can set off the time on my calendar and really make longer videos, higher quality, and get the editing time in to give you the sort of videos that you expect from month to month. If you've ever done this before, then you are a direct reason why I was able to make today's video possible. And if you would like to make the next round a reality, then click that link and give whatever makes sense for you. If you're already a patron, or if you just want a different way to give back that doesn't involve an exchange of money, there's a really powerful way that you can make a difference. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do that. And then you can click the third link in the video, or the third card, I should say, and this will bring you to my website where you can join me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, as well as my newsletter. And then if you really want to make a difference, you can share it on your social media feed. The reason this is so powerful is, as I say many times in these videos, I'm trying to help foster and create more light workers on this planet. When you share that, you allow someone else to have this free resource, work on themselves, overcome obstacles, and basically take their energy into a higher and brighter space. And as we do this, we really shine like lighthouses and we can help others. It's a beautiful chain of light that we create across the planet. So please consider sharing. It makes a big difference, and I appreciate you for doing that. All right, let's wrap up now and talk about the closing word and the final message for you. I mentioned at the beginning, again, that it was important to create some boundaries and limits, but I think the big thing for you is to step out and to evolve. And part of this sort of boundary or limit for you may just simply be saying enough is enough, or I can't do this anymore. Because it's all right if you need to basically quit or decide to change gears and say, I'm ready to do this. It's something that I did in my own life. Now it's been about 5 years, but I had a corporate job and I just couldn't do it anymore. And I decided time to move on. And it was the best decision I ever made because it allowed for all of this to happen. I had to let go of something though, in order to create the space, the time, and the opportunity for new things to come in. Don't be afraid to do the same thing. And wherever you're at in your life, don't beat yourself up about being perfect. What I'd rather you try to be is fulfilled and satisfied with the path that you're on and the experiences that you're going through. That's what matters. So really tune into that this month, and I think you're going to be okay. This was a powerful card that I think you could incorporate in your daily practice as well. Canceling, clearing, and deleting limiting thoughts, negative energy, and any sort of kind of self-perpetuating bonds that you've created. Or barriers that you've done where it's like, this is always going to be this way, or I never works out, or I can't do it. Eliminate that. I want you to start to put yourself in a place of power, light, and possibility. And that is the final word for today, and that brings this reading and this video to a close as well. You have so many choices both in YouTube and in life that it honors me and humbles me that you spent this time working on yourself and allowing me to help you on that path. Until next month, I'm wishing you love, light, and happiness. Take care.